the idea of making a show that was not called Zan News yet, but to make a show about latex puppets of famous politicians, celebrities, sports athletes, etc., hit me the first time I came to South Africa. That was in 1997. And I found a political landscape that was fantastic, too good to be true. Not only the reconciliation thing and the Rainbow Nation, but the fact that there were warring factions who were now sitting at the same table discussing, and the diversity of those views. I mean, where else can you still have people wearing a swastika-like emblem who won't be arrested and go to jail for years like they would be in Europe, as well as a communist party, which is part of the ruling alliance, still very much lively, and ethnic groups sitting together at the same table in government or in opposition. It made just a brilliant political landscape. I come from a country, France, where a show called Les Guignols had been in 1997 on air for over 10 years already as a daily show. It was inspired by Spitting Image, which was created in the late 80s in the UK. But there in France, they did a daily show which was like your news ripoff at 8 o'clock, just opposite the traditional 8 o'clock news. And more viewers were attracted to that show because basically in 10 minutes they could get all the news they needed to have, but in a fun way. Just like in the US, the daily news with Jon Stewart happens. Some people think that it's better than the normal newscast because they get the content, but they get it with a smile. They get it with sarcasm. So when I came in 98 and moved to this country permanently in 1998, I contacted Zapiro because I had seen his cartoons in the newspapers, and I thought, this is the guy that understands it all, that understands the South African psyche, the diversity, and also who's got the culture, the background to put it all together. And in one single cartoon, give a view that political analysts are usually not able to give. So I looked him up in the phone book, couldn't find his Zapiro, of course, because there's no Zapiro in the phone book. I found out that his real name was Jonathan Shapiro. He happened to live in Cape Town, where I had elected to live. So fabulous, we got together. Of course, he knew of Spitting Image. He didn't know the Guignols, but I showed him a few tapes. He loved the idea. And from that day, that was actually in October 1998, I think, we became friends, and we became partners in crime to develop this show. In 1998, I financed a pilot through my production company, a 5-minute pilot, which we only made one puppet for, the puppet of Nelson Mandela, the Madiba or Tata puppet. The current puppet that we have in the show is based on the designs that we had in 1998 of Madiba. So if currently the puppet doesn't look as old as the real Madiba, well, that's because, first of all, Madiba doesn't look old, and then it was also designed in 1998, 12 years ago. We did this pilot. We showed it to all the broadcasters, to ETV, to SABC. ETV was just born back then. And they loved the idea. SABC and ETV competed for the show. SABC said, yes, we'll do it. I even still have a draft contract from the SABC from 1998. It was supposed to run on SABC 2 in the morning, on the morning breakfast show, and then run also in the evening, just before the 8 o'clock news, because in those days it was 8 o'clock, not 7, SABC 3. Then when we started talking about editorial and our style and editorial freedom in particular, because Jonathan and I believe that cartooning and political lampooning couldn't be controlled by a news editor. We were doing entertainment, not news. And then the SABC News in particular said, no, it has to be controlled. We have to see the scripts beforehand. We have to vet everything. You've got to be part of the news process. We said, no, sorry, we believe that won't work. Then ETV didn't have the money. And in 1998, we said it won't work. But back in those days, we heard for the first time that famous line, that mantra, South Africans are not ready for this.